Got it.
Okay, this is the third chapter. Kṛṣṇa is the source of all incarnations. It's the fifth verse, about the fifth paragraph down in the purport. And I'll read the first two, and you can read the third one.
All right.
The next incarnations of the Manus,
Right.
within 1 day's duration of the life of Brahma, which is calculated by our solar years as 4,300,000 times 1,000 years. That's actually only 1 day of Brahma, and that's 4.32 billion years. Therefore, there are 420 Manus in 1 month of Brahma and 5,040 Manus in 1 year of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years and of his age, and therefore there are 5,040 times 100, or 504,000 Manus in the duration of Brahma's life. There are innumerable universes with one Brahma in each of them, and all of them are created and annihilated during the breathing time of the Purusha. Hold on a second. Within the breathing time of the Purusha. The Manus who are prominent within this universe are as follows: Yagya as Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhu as Svarochisa Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikuntha as Raivata Manu, Ajit as Chakshush Manu, Vamana as Vaivashvata Manu. The present age is under the Vaivashvata Manu. Sarvabhauma as Sarvani Manu, Rishabha as Daksharvani Manu, Vishwaksena as Brahma Sarvani Manu, Dharmasetu as Dharma Sarvani Manu, Sudhama as Rudra Sarvani Manu, Yogeshwar as Deva Sarvani Manu, and Barahad Manu as Indra Sarvani Manu. These are the names of one set of 14 Manus, covering 4,300,000,000 solar years, as described above.
Then there are the Yuga avatars, or the incarnations of the millennia. The Yugas are known as Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvarpara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The incarnations of each Yuga are of different color. The colors are white, red, black, and yellow. In the Dvarpara Yuga, Lord Kṛṣṇa's black color appeared, and in the Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya in the yellow color appeared. So all the incarnations of the Lord are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Therefore, there is no scope for an impostor to become an incarnation, for an incarnation must be mentioned in the Sastras. An incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation of the Lord. But great sages agree, by the symptoms mentioned in the revealed scriptures, the features of...
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's good. The features... there we go. The features of the incarnations and the particular type of mission which he has to execute are mentioned in the revealed scriptures.
Why don't you read the last paragraph also?
All right. Let me see. All right, there we go. Apart from the direct incarnations, there are innumerable empowered incarnations. They are also mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Such incarnations are directly, as well as indirectly, empowered. When they are directly empowered, they are called incarnations. But when they are indirectly empowered, they are all called, what's that word?
Vibhutis.
Vibhutis. Directly empowered incarnations are the Kumar.
Kumaras, Narada, Prithu, Shesha, Nanta, etc.
Yeah, I know the one, the turtle. As far as the Vibhutis are concerned, they are very explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita in the Vibhuti Yoga chapter. And for all these different types of incarnations, the fountainhead is the what's that word?
Dharmadakshai Vishnu.
Yeah.
So I'll just read the next Sanskrit translation.
Okay.
Saeva Parthamam Deva Kumaram Sargamashita Chachara Duskacharam Brahma Brahmacharya Khanditam. Sa, that, Eva, certainly, Pratamam, first, Deva, Supreme Lord, Kumaram, named the Kumars, unmarried, Sargam, creation, Ashrita, under Chachara, performed, Dushkaram, very difficult to do, Brahma, in the order Brahman, Brahmacharyam, under discipline to realize the absolute Brahman, Akhanditam, unbroken, translation. First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were 4 unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumars, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for realization of the absolute truth. Go ahead and read the purport.
The purport is the creation of the material world is affected, maintained, and then again annihilated at certain intervals. So there are different names of the creations in terms of the particular types of Brahma, the father of the living beings in the creation. The Kumaras are, as above mentioned, appeared in the Kumara creation of the material world, and to teach us the process of Brahman realization. They underwent sorry, I lost my space. They underwent a severe type of disciplinary actions as bachelors. These Kumaras are empowered incarnations, and before executing the several types of disciplinary actions, all of them became qualified Brahmanas. This example suggests that one must first acquire the qualifications of a Brahmana, not simply by birth, but also by quality, and then one can undergo the process of Brahman realization.
Text 7. Dvitiyam tu bhavasyasya rasatalam gatam hahim udar hisyan upadata jagnesa sokaram bapu. Translate synonyms. Divyatam, dvitiyam, the second, two, but bhavaya, for the welfare, asya, of this earth, rasatala, of the lower region, gatam, having gone, mahim, the earth, udarisyam, lifting, upadata, established, yagnesha, the progenitor of the supreme enjoyer, shukaram, hagish, bapu, incarnation. Translation: the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a boar, the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. Go ahead.
The indication is that for each and every incarnation of the personality of Godhead, the particular function executed is also mentioned. They cannot be any incarnation without a particular function, and as such functions are always extraordinary. They are also impossible for any living being to perform. The incarnation of the boar was to take the earth out of Pluto's regions of filthy matter. Picking up something from a filthy place is done by a boar, and the all-powerful personality of Godhead displays this wonder to the Asuras, who had hidden the earth in such a filthy place. There is nothing impossible for the personality of Godhead, and although he played the part of a boar, by the devotees he is worshipped, staying always in transcendence.
Text 8. Tritiyam rishi sargam by devarshitam utpetyasa tantram sattvatam achasta naishkarmyam karmanam yata. Synonyms. Tritiyam, the third one, rishi sargam, the millennium of the rishis, via certainly, devarsitam, incarnation of the rishi among the demigods, upetya, having accepted Sahi Tantram, exposition of the Vedas, Sattvatam, which is specially meant for devotional service, Achasta, collected, Naishkarmyam, non-fruitive, Karmanam, of work, Yeta, from which. Translation: in the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of God had accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action.
The great Rishi Narada, who is an empowered incarnation of the personality of Godhead. There we go. propagates devotional service all over the universe. All great devotees of the Lord are all the universe, and in different planets and species of life are his disciples. Srila Vasudeva, the compiler of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, is also one of his disciples. Narada is the author of Narada
Pancharatra.
Pantra, which is the exposition of the Vedas, particularly for devotional service of the Lord. This Narada, this uh, this Narada Pampachara trains in the karmis, or the fruit of workers, to achieve liberation from the bondage of fruit of work. The conditioned souls are mostly attracted by fruit of work because they want to enjoy life by the sweet of their own brows. The whole universe is full of fruit of workers and all species of life. The fruit of workers include all kinds of economic development plans. But the law of nature provides that every action has its resultant reaction, and the performer of the worker is bound up by such reactions, good or bad. The reactions of good work is comparative material prosperities, whereas the reactions of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all meant ultimately for distress only. Foolish materialists have no information on how to obtain eternal happiness in the unconditioned state. Srila Narada informs that these foolish fruitive workers have how to realize the reality of happiness. He gives direction to the diseased man of the world how he one's present engagement can lead one to the path of spiritual emancipation. The physician directs the patient to take treated milk in the form of the curd for his sufferings from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So the cause of the disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. The Bhagavad Gita also gives the same solution of serving the Lord by the fruit of one's labor. That will lead one to the path of nice me or liberation.
I like the sentence that says, the result of reaction of good work is comparative to material prosperity. The reaction of bad work is comparative material distress, but material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all ultimately meant for distress only. It's just like, materialists only feel good. They feel happy when they stop suffering. It's like a man who is like waterboarded or dunked into the river. He feels great relief when he's taken out, or like when you stop banging your head against the wall, you feel some kind of relief. But it's all suffering. Text 9. Turiye Dharma Kala Sarge Nara Narayana Vrishi Bhutab Mopasame Mopetam Akarot Dushcharam Tapa. Synonyms. Turiye, in the fourth of the line, Dharmakala, wife of Dharmaraj, Sarge, being born of Nara Narayano, named Nara and Narayan, Rishi, sages, Bhutva, becoming Atma Upasama, controlling the senses, Upetam, for achievement of Akarot, undertook, Dushcharam, very strenuous, Tapa, penance. Translation. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayan, the twin sons of the king of the wife of King Dharma. Thus he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses.
The purport as King Rishabha advised his sons tapasya, or voluntary acceptance of penance for realization of the transcendence, is the only duty of the human being. It was so done by the Lord himself in an exemplary manner to teach us. The Lord is very kind to the forgetful souls. He therefore comes himself and leaves behind necessary instructions, and also sends his good sons as representatives to call all the conditioned souls back to Godhead. Recently, within the memory of everyone, Lord Chaitanya also appeared for the same purpose, to show special favor to fallen souls of this age of iron industry. The incarnation of Narayan is worshipped still at
Bhadrai Narayan.
on the ranges of the Himalayas.
Text 10. Panchama Kapilo Nama Siddhesha Kala Viplitam Pocha Chasura Raye Sankyam Tattva Grama Vinirnayam. Synonyms. Panchama, the fifth one, Kapila. Kapila, Nama by name, of the name. Siddhesha, the foremost among the perfect. Kala, time, Viplutam, lost. Hovatra, said. Asurye, unto the Brahmana named Asuri. Sankyam, metaphysics. Tattva gram, the sum total of the creative elements. Vinirnayam, exposition, translation. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana, for in course of time, this knowledge had been lost.
The purport is the sum of the total of the creative elements is 24 in all. Each and every one of them is explicitly explained in the system of the Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy is generally called metaphysics, and by the European scholars, the etymological meaning of Sankhya is that which explains very lucidly by analysis of the material elements. This was done for the first time by Lord Kapila, who is said herein but to be the fifth in the line of incarnations.
Text 11. Shastam atra apatyatvam vrita prapto nasuyaya anviksikam alarkaya praladibhya uchivan. Synonyms. Shastam, the sixth one, atre of arti, apatyatvam, sonship, vrita, being prayed for, prapta, obtained, anusuyaya of Anusuya, vikriksitam, on the subject of transcendence, alarkaya, unto alarka, pralada adibhya, unto Prahlada and others, Uchivan, spoke. Translation. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anusuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlad, and others, Yadu, Haihaya, etc.
The purport is the Lord incarnated himself as
Dattatreya,
the son of Rishi and what's that word?
Anasuya.
Anasuya. The history of the birth of Dattatreya as an incarnation of the Lord is mentioned in the Brahmanda Purana in connection with the story of the devoted wife. It is said that Anasuya, the wife of Rishi, prayed before the Lords Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva as follows: my lords, if you are pleased with me, and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. This was accepted by the Lords, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of the spirit, soul, and especially instructed, who are these people?
Alarka, Prahlad, Yadu, Haihaya, etc.
Yeah.
Text 12. Tata saptama akutyam ruchir yagno bhajayata sayamadhyay suraganar Upatsvayambhuvantaram, synonyms. Tata, after that, Saptame, the seventh in the line, Akutyam, in the womb of Akuti, Ruche, by Prachapati Ruchi, Yajna, the Lord's incarnation as Jaga, Abhyajatyata, advented Sahi, Yama Adya, with Yama and others, Suraganai, with demigods, Apat, ruled, Swayambhuva Antaram, the change of the period of Swayambhuva Manu. Translation, the seventh incarnation was Jagya, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama.
The purport is the administrative posts occupied by the demigods for maintaining the regulations of the material world as offered to the highly elevated pious living beings. When there is a scarcity of such pious living beings, the Lord incarnates himself as Brahma, what's that one?
Prajapati.
Yeah, Prajapati, I almost had it. Indra, etc., and takes up the charge. During the period of
Swayambhuva
Manu, the present period of the Vaishna Vasa Manu, there was no suitable living being who could occupy the post of Indra, the king of the Indra Loka, when the heaven planet. The Lord himself at the time became Indra, assisted by his own sons like Yama and other demigods. Lord Yana ruled the administration of the universal affairs.
Text 13. Ashtame Murudevyam tu Navirjata Rukrama Dashayam Vartma Adhiranam Sarashrama Namaskritam. Synonyms. Ashtame, the eighth of the incarnations, Marudevyam tu, in the womb of Marudevi, the wife of Nabe, King Nabi, Jata took birth, Urukrama, the all-powerful Lord, Darshayam, by showing Vartma, the way, Dhiranam, of the perfect beings, Sarva, all ashram orders of life, Namaskritam, honored by. Translation, the eighth incarnation was King Rishabha, the son of King Nabi and his wife Miradevi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life.
The society of human beings is actually divided into 8 by orders and status of life. The 4 divisions of the occupation and 4 divisions of cultural advancement. The intelligent class, the administrative class, the productive class, and the laborer class are the 4 divisions of occupation. And the student life, the householder life, the retired life, and renounced life are the 4 statuses of cultural advancement towards the path of spiritual realization. Out of these, the renounced order of life, or the order of sannyasa, is considered the highest of all, and the sannyasis is constitutionally the spiritual master for all the orders and divisions. In the sannyasa order, also there are the 4 stages of the upliftment towards perfection. These stages are called
Udicak, Bahodak, Parivajak, Acharya, and Paramahansa.
The Paramahansa stage of life is the highest stage of perfection. The order of life is respected by all others. I forget this guy's name.
Maharaj Rishabha.
Yeah, I've heard of him. The son of King Nabi and Maru Devi was an incarnation of the Lord, and he instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya, which sanctifies one's existence and enables one to attain the stage of spiritual happiness, which is eternal and ever increasing. Ever living beings is searching after happiness, but no one knows where eternal and unlimited happiness is obtainable. Foolish men seek after material sense pleasure as a substitute for real happiness, but such foolish men forget that temporary so-called happiness derives from sense pleasures, is also enjoyed by dogs and hogs. No animals, birds, and beasts is bereft of the sense pleasure in every aspect of life, including the human form of life. Such happiness is immensely obtainable. The human forms of life, however, is not meant for such cheap happiness. The human life is meant for obtaining eternal and unlimited happiness by spiritual realization. This spiritual realization is obtained by tapasya and undergoing voluntary the path of penance and abstinence from material pleasure. Those who have been trained for absence and material pleasures are called Dharaya, or men
Dira.
of what's that? What was that word again?
It's called Dira.
Oh, Dira. Dira, or a men undisturbed by the senses. One, those Dhahiras can accept the orders of Sannyasa, and they can gradually rise to the status of the Paramahasa, also which is adored by all the members of society, because King Rishabha propagated this mission, and at the last stage he became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is the rare stage not to be imitated by foolish men, but by the worship by all.
Text 14. Rishabhir yachito beje navamam partivam vapu. Dughe nam asudir bipras teniyam sa utsatama. Synonyms. Rishibi, by the sages, Yachita, being prayed for, Beje, accepted, Navan Mam, the ninth one, Partivim, the ruler of the earth, Vapu, body, Dugda, milking, Imam, all these, Oshadi, products of the earth, Vipra, O Brahmanas, Tena, by Avyam, this, Sa, he, Usatama, beautifully attractive. Translation. O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord, prayed for by sages, accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce, and for that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive.
The purport is before the advent of King Prutha, there was the great havoc of maladministration due to the vicious life of the previous king, the father of Maharaj Prutha. The intelligent class of men, namely the sages of the Brahmanas, not only prayed for the Lord to come down, but also dethroned the previous king. It is the duty of the king to be pious and thus look after the all-around welfare of the citizens whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty. The intelligent class of men must dethrone him. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have much more important duties for the welfare of the public. Instead of occupying the real throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaj Puruth. Real intelligent men or qualified Brahmanas never aspire for political posts. Maharaj Puruth, how excavated many produces for the earth, and thus not only did the citizens become happy to have such a king, but the complete sight of the earth also became beautiful and attractive.
Yeah, Mars Prithu. There was this king named King Vena. He was really a bad king. He stopped all the Brahminical sacrifices, and he was like really bad. And so the sages got mad at him. They tried to reason with him, and he wouldn't listen to him. And so they had to kill him. So they cursed him like they made some sound with their Brahman threads, and they cursed him to die, and then they, by their mystic power, they prayed or churned his body somehow, and from his body, a male and female god and goddess came out. That was Mars Pritu and his wife, Patri.
Wow.
So let's see, we got 6 minutes, 28 seconds left. Rupam sa jagrihe masyam chakshurshadadi samplave navi aropya mahimayam apad vajrasvatam manu. Rupam, form, sahi jagrihe, accepted, matsyam, of a fish, chakshusha, adadi, water, samplave, inundation, navi, on the boat, aropya, keeping on, mahi, the earth, mayam, drowned in, upat, protected, vajrasvatam manu, the father of man. That's where the word man comes from, is the manu. He's the father of mankind. He's one of the progenitors. Original
progenitors.
Yeah, progenitors means like the ones who produce the population from Lord Brahma.
The
translation: when there is a complete inundation after the period of the Chakshush Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vajrasvata Manu, keeping him on a boat. Go ahead.
The purport is according to the Sridharta Swami, the original commentator of the Bhagavatam. There is not always a devastation after the change of every Manu, and yet this inundation after the period of Kṛṣṇa Manu took place in order to show some wonders to Śikṣāṣtaka, but Sri Jiva Goswami has given definite proofs from authoritative scriptures like Vishnu, the
Vishnu
Vishnu
Dharmotara, Markandeya Purana, Harivamsa, etc.
Yeah, that there is always a devastation after the end of each and every Manu. Srila
Vishwanath Chakravarti
has also supported Srila Jiva Goswami, and he, Sri Kshatriyavarti, has also quoted from the Bhagavatam about this inundation after each Manu. Apart from this, the Lord, in order to show special favor to Kshatriyavarti, a devotee of the Lord in this particular period, incarnated himself.
That could be like the Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
There's an inundation, according to Jiva Goswami. There's an inundation after every Manu. There's 14 Manus in every day of Brahma, and every day of Brahma is 4.32 billion years.
Yeah, 4.2 billion years.
3.2 billion years. Yeah, something like that. But so there's 14 divided into that, and that's a period of Manu. So it's a partial inundation of the entire earth where it's covered with water and at the end of each period. We got 3 minutes left here. We'll read one more and I'll ask for questions. Text 16. Sura Suranam Udidim Mantnatam Mandarachalam Dadre Kamatarupena Krista Akadasevabu. Sura, the theists, Asuranam, of the atheists, Udadim, in the ocean, Manatam, churning, Mandarachalam, the Mandaracharala hill, Dadre, sustained, Kamata, tortoise, Rupena, in the form of Christe, shell, Akadase, the 11th in the line, Bubu, the great. Translation. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theists and atheists of the universe.
Once both the atheists and the Theses were engaged in producing nectar from the sea so that all of them could become deathless by drinking it. At the time of Mandarakala Hill, I've heard of that, was used as the churning rod. Yeah, the churning and the shell of the Lord tortoise. The incarnation of Godhead became the resting place, the pivot of the hill and the seawater.
Yeah, that's a pretty famous pastime. There's a huge temple of Vishnu in Cambodia that has bas relief of that whole pastime where the demons and the demigods use this snake to churn the mountain to produce nectar and all kinds of other things from the churning of the ocean. And also it produced poison. And Shiva drank the poison, and therefore his neck turned blue. Anybody else who would drink the poison, he would kill him immediately. But he drank the whole hala poison, and his neck became blue. That's why he's called Nilakanta, or blue neck. And but there's a restaurant actually at the bottom of the Green Tree Hill in Green Tree that's called the I forget what it is, but the restaurant is named after that temple in Cambodia. Anyway, thank you for joining. I think we're less than a minute away, but thanks a lot for joining. At least we have two guys. If we have two guys on the call, then there'll be at least a class. So
Yeah.
thanks a lot, Al. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Hare Krishna.